So you had that first offer. Can we ask how much that was, just so that we can get an idea of what you were getting?
Yeah, it was between 40 and 50 a year.
Okay, and so then you're waiting on an offer now, and this new place is actually all remote. And what is that you think you're gonna get there?
Yeah, we were talking about somewhere in 65-ish range, somewhere around there.
And remote as your
And
first
remote.
job as a dev. I think that's
Yep.
pretty sweet, especially for only 3 weeks after. I wish if you get a first like junior dev job at that rate and remote, I'm pretty sure that's close to the dream of a lot of people. What's going on, guys? If you don't know who that is Troy. He went to Lambda School. I made a couple videos with him in the past. One where I interviewed him and just got his perspective on the school and what it was like. And then another one, we did a live stream. He joined us as a guest to help us interview participants that are looking to break into the industry. So we looked at their resume, we asked them some technical questions, some HR type questions, and since he's been doing that himself, he was a good candidate to help us do that on the stream. Anyways, this video is a follow-up after all of that, 3 weeks later, and we want to see like how's his job prospects been. And as you can see in the first clip, he has gotten multiple job offers within like less than 30 days, which is pretty amazing. And I don't say that to shill anything, right? Again, take everything with a grain of salt, and it depends on the person and their outcome and how well they can network. The goal of these videos is to present the information to you, and you can make the decision yourself. But from even a subjective standpoint, multiple job offers and one being remote, less than 30 days after a boot camp is still pretty. I mean, I didn't get that. So this is a follow-up in addition to him, finding out how that went, what his interviews were like, how many did he apply to how many got rejected, to how many callbacks, and then how many of those callbacks went to like further stage interviews where, like technical tests and stuff. What does his resume look like? What does his cover letter look like? What are his tips for finding jobs, or how he found his job? Those sorts of questions I'm asking in this interview. So if you want to know the school that Troy went to, it's called Lambda School, and how that works is it's free up front, no cost to you, and then after you graduate and get a job using the skills that you learned, making $50,000 or more, you pay 17% of your salary back for 2 years, or up to $30,000. If you want to find out more, there's a link in the description. If you use it, it benefits the channel, and then you also receive $250 at the end of it when you graduate the course. In addition to that, there's a Discord link in the description. It'd be cool if you check that out. I try to give everyone a personal welcome that joins. If I don't, call me out on it. I want everyone to feel welcome there. We have a great group of people. We're always trying to learn, trying to improve, just break into the industry. The more people, the better. One more thing, if you haven't seen my recent video where I gave my dad a car. You drive.
You can drive the car.
No, you drive. Car.
What is that? You got another car?
Happy birthday.
No way.
Yeah.
Why? Why did you buy me a car? Why'd you do this, John?
He made his own YouTube channel and he posted his first video. He's been texting me pretty much nonstop for the past 3 days since he made that video. He's only got like 14 comments or whatever, but I'm helping him do it right now, teaching him the ways of how to feel confident. And anyways, it'd be cool if you checked him out. If it's not for you, I understand. Anyways, guys, I hope you enjoy the video. And if you want to see more like this, be sure and hit that subscribe button. Oh, by the way, you can send Troy an email. His email is in the description. So if you got any questions for him to elaborate on anything that you've seen in the video, just go ahead and click his email. You can also send me an email or drop a comment. We'll see you in the next video. All right, so Troy, it's been some time since you have finished the Lambda School. How are things? How's it going?
It's going pretty well. I have a lot more time in my hands now, which is nice. Make some projects, go out and actually have some fun with friends. But I still need to find a job, so that's what I'm really focusing on.
That's what we all want to know. Because you mentioned that you were in the stages of late interviews. Tell us how that went.
Yeah, so I had gotten an offer at one place here in town that would be doing a mix of both front end and back end, more focused on the back end, and connecting a lot of Amazon data and using their APIs. Job itself seemed kind of cool, but it definitely wasn't the right fit for me. Like as much as I enjoy just programming in general, I think that I would better suited in more of like a supporting environment because it was pretty small, and also maybe working more towards on the front end because I just enjoy that a bit more.
So can you tell us what that interview process was like? How many stages of it? What did that look like? Did you have a phone screen and then a take-home test, and then like what was that like?
So it was a phone screen for about a half hour, just talking about my background, education, and talked about Lambda, talked about a couple side projects that I did, and then it was on site with like a technical screen. And it was basically an hour and a half little project, basically that was, can you connect to this API using like just a like a node backend and get some data off of it. And then one more interview that was more of a like a culture fit.
So what you're saying is that you got a job offer, which is a huge moment because it's only been 3 weeks since you have graduated. But did you start applying before then? And like, how many applications did you send out compared to how many interviews you received? Like, what? How has that? How's that been?
Sure. So I started probably the week before I graduated, maybe just a couple days like here and there, just shortly before that. Um, so yeah, that definitely came from that group. But I think I found them through like a Craigslist, and I talked to somebody that worked there. Like at a meetup, I had just met them, and so I think that might have helped. But as far as like interview or applications to interviews, I've had a decent number of interviews, and probably up to like 7, 8 so far. Like initial phone screens, and 6 of those have moved on to maybe like a technical call or just whatever the next step is. Um, and so I've yeah probably about 50, maybe more applications to those like eight eight. Yeah, I've got my spreadsheet open now. 8 like initial phone screens, and then 6 of those have led to the next steps. And then that one offer, but I'm waiting to hear back from one other company that I'm really excited about. They're a smaller startup, but they are doing some really cool things with the engineering team, and they're really looking for more people, more like front end work, and specifically with React. And I personally really enjoy that.
It's a pretty good ratio compared to the time that you've spent applying. So I would say 21 days, 50 places applied, 8 people called you back. 6 of those 8 wanted to move. Like, that's what matters. Like, 6 of those 8 people still wanted to like move on. And then the fact that you have the ability to turn down an offer because you have other options coming. Like, I'm pretty sure, like you said earlier, you're waiting on multiple offers pretty much. And so you have the choice of fit. It's not just like, oh, I need a job. I think that's a. So did you actually, like, you applied to a bunch of jobs, but did you ever get any like definite declines or no's or like no thank you? Like, did that happen?
There's been plenty of those, especially like just the initial email. But I had one interview that it was the third round. I had completed a coding challenge, a first phone screen, and then we were doing uh, a technical interview just through Zoom or something like that, just video conferencing. And it was really interesting because we were doing pure functional programming and using those like the functions that we wrote in a React component. So it was really cool to play with a new paradigm that I hadn't really like thought about, because it's pure functional. So there's absolutely nothing that can be reassigned or changed. So you can't use like any for loops or any counters. So there's a lot of recursion involved, and I hadn't really touched recursion in a while. It's really straightforward though once you pick it back up again. But it was really fun to work with. After pretty much the next day, they told me it wasn't going to be a good fit, which I'm all right with. I just really enjoyed it, like enjoyed that interview, because I got to learn.
Okay, so there may be a lot of people wondering out there. So you obviously did a great job on all your interviews because you have multiple offers coming in. What kind of tips would you give people out there looking to do the same as you? Like actual take-home tips, like what frameworks should they know? What websites should they go to? What do they need to study to be able to do well and interview well? Maybe even some interpersonal skills, you think?
Yeah, I would say the biggest thing that's helped me in all these interviews that I've been on is knowing about the company itself. So figure out like what what their main product is or what their main offering is, figure out what it does. If it's an app, awesome. Maybe download the app, try that out so you can talk about it intelligently, talk about a few things that you like, maybe some things that you saw that could be neat to change. And I always check Glassdoor for the company itself and like the ratings, but also see if they have any like interviews. Like people leave what they might have done in an interview, and it just gives you a good sense of maybe the questions they ask, or if you need to prepare, like for specific coding challenges, those might be on there. I usually take those with a grain of salt and just see what the like what the format of the interview is gonna be like. So is it just coding along, like doing a coding problem or an algorithm problem, or are you going to be doing like a little mini project? Figure out whatever technology they're using, but I still just try to brush up on something new, and then maybe if I have some extra time and there's a technology listed that I don't know, like Ruby on the Rails, just do a tutorial for that really quickly.
So you've obviously gotten a lot of responses, especially like again within the time frame. But what does your cover letter and resume look like? I give my own advice and tips on resume and cover letter. What do you put emphasis on in yours? Like, do you show projects up front, skills, just want to learn? Like, how do you convey your personality with a lack of dev experience?
I usually write a cover letter whenever I'm applying for a job I really want. Um, or if I'm just like mass applying to some things that I'm just like, okay, I know I can fit for this job, but I don't know much about the company. I might just write a little one explaining about my switch, from sales into engineering. Um, but it seems more that I connect with like a smaller company or maybe a startup because that's just where my background is, and I usually tend to make a cover letter really stand out about my background in startups, um, and anything else that I can like identify with and relate to. Yeah, so it's going to be projects, work experience with, like my freelance work, and then I also include Lambda School because for the last 6 months, that's what I've been focusing on.
Okay, so one thing I get a question about on is what a lot of people want to know, like when do you know when to apply for jobs? Like obviously you went to Lambda School and then it ended and that was your cue to like, okay, now you've gotten everything from the school, but do you think that you could have been applying to jobs in the middle of Lambda School or, 75% of the way through it? What do you think is the minimum viable that you need in today's world since you've been interviewing so much to get a junior dev position?
Knowing HTML, CSS, vanilla JavaScript will probably get you 90% of the way there for like some of the jobs locally. If you want to work on more cool like web applications, definitely know a framework like React, Angular, or Vue. Seems that there's more React jobs out there now, so that's probably the one that I would suggest. But I think you're going to be lacking some basics that you should know, and maybe extend yourself into a backend. And since you're learning JavaScript, might as well go with Node and Express. And I think if you can do all of that, you'll definitely have a shot. So yeah, if you're just doing it on your own, learning HTML, CSS, and JavaScript really well, and then adding in a framework so that you can build full web applications easily. Then a backend to work with it, whether that's Node and Express, or like Ruby on Rails or anything else. Like I think you'd be set.
Okay, so another question that I get all the time is how many projects do you need in your portfolio? I say three, try to showcase from A to Z. When I say A to Z, I mean like from wireframes to the end with a database. Like and like three of fully featured apps, like something that obviously you don't need a dev team for, but something with the front end and back end, you did the design, the wireframe, a little bit of everything. Depends on what they want to see, or like, all right, I got this for each one. What do you think?
So I currently have two on my resume, but if you look at my portfolio, there's like five. And it shows from where I started like a year ago to today, and the project that I built with the team during Lambda. So I think what's more important is that you can confidently talk about the project itself, especially if it's complicated. or rather impressive. More than one. I think 3 is a good number. I just put 2 on my resume just because I was running out of the space.
Well, sure, for resume, yeah, but for portfolio, definitely more than 1. Okay, so I got an email yesterday, and it was basically someone asking me, like, are they too old to learn this? So I just want to see what the class is like, who is the oldest guy in your class, and how's he doing with things?
Yeah. The oldest guy, he's right around 50, and he's definitely not too old to learn programming and make a career change. He's doing really well. He's always up there at the like understanding, and we don't have rankings, but like unofficially at like the top of the class. Um, and I don't think he's going to have any problem. Talking about why going to Lambda at his age was a really good thing, and how it's going to benefit the company, because he's definitely really intelligent. Definitely can speak to that.
Okay, so did he actually have any background doing this before, or did he go from like 0 to hero?
So I know back in college he had taken a couple classes and then messed around with it a little bit in his early career. But honestly, nothing in the past like 20 years, which
Well, I don't think most of what he learned 20 years ago would really be relevant in today's job market. So that's basically 0 to hero, which is super awesome. If people want to know more or hear more from you, where can they contact you?
yeah, my email will probably be the best way to get in touch with me. I think Josh will put it in the description, or it's Troy Don Williams at gmail.com.
Yeah, I'll definitely put it in the description for you. Um, but that's awesome, dude. Congratulations on all of your success after the 3 weeks. That's pretty. I think even people in college don't have that kind of success. So that's super cool. Um, cool, dude. Thanks so much for your time.
Yeah, thanks Josh.
Thanks for the follow up.